All right, guys, this is that 91 F350 with the IDI. I was showing you, I think it was just yesterday actually, but drove it around the house here a little bit more yesterday, and the more I drove it, the more I smelt fuel. Got to looking. This is actually on more than one injector, but you can see it right here. This is the driver's side front injector. All of this is covered in diesel. When you crank it over, it leaks diesel out below this fitting and above this fitting. Of course, the injector line is tight. After looking at it just a little bit, looks like that's the return lines. It goes down both banks. There's one on the driver's side. Same thing on the passenger side. Those with these little hose clamps right here and these banjo fitting type deals, those go on top of the fuel injectors, and the return pressure bleeds back into the tank from there. But obviously this one is one of the more severe leaks. The rest of them down through there, I popped the air cleaner off, they're leaking as well. I'm gonna get started here. I got a kit. It was pretty inexpensive. Comes with all new banjo fittings, new pieces of hose, and you basically just replace all of the return line stuff. Comes with new O-rings to go on the injectors and all that. So I'm gonna get started, and hopefully we'll do a quick video on how to replace that stuff. Okay, got the air cleaner off. We're gonna start on the driver's side because this one's leaking the worst and it looks pretty easy to get to. Basically, you just gotta take all 4 injector lines, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pop them off of the injectors. Take those bolts out so that there's a little bit of flexibility in these injector lines. And I don't plan on completely removing them from the engine bay, just gonna pull them up out of the way so the little return hose assembly can, basically the whole thing can slip up off the injectors as an assembly. So we'll take it loose all the way down to here and take it loose all the way back to there. And then the theory is I'm going to take that whole assembly off and then duplicate it and replace it. So I'm going to put it on time lapse for sake of not boring you with too much detail. I'm going to take these loose. I'm going to take the injectors loose, pop that whole assembly off. Theory is, I took that one off. I don't know if you could tell, that hose was so dry and crusty it just kind of fell apart when I took that, tried to take that off. And then I took it off here. I'm hoping this whole assembly right here will come off as one piece, and we're gonna see if we can do that right now. Let's start one injector at a time. There's that one. That one. There's that one. There we go. All right. So there's the return hose assembly from the driver's side. All right, I got my little table here in the garage. It's easier to sit down and do this than lay over the engine bay. Here's the kit, SK38, Standard Motor Products. Preferably, if I had time, I'd probably try to order something off the internet that was not made in Chinesium, but unfortunately this has some China components, and if you know me, you know I'm not crazy about that. But I'm in a hurry to get this thing on the road, so we're gonna try it. SK38, I think it's like 50 bucks at O'Reilly's, but it comes with all these little banjo fittings, clamps, new hoses, and the O-rings to go on the injectors. I'll show you that too. But right now, we're just gonna sit down, crack the kit open, and duplicate this little sub-assembly with the new pieces of the kit. All right, so here's our new one. It's got all the, I just sized up the hose length, had that a little bit to that one because that's the one broke off. And then I just matched up each hose length, each type of fitting. There's a couple of different types of fitting. Some have a 90 like that. Some are straight through like that. Just match up which one goes with which corner and duplicate what you took off. So, all right, we got our new return line assembly. This is where it's gonna go. I'm gonna put it on a time lapse, but I wanted to mention real quick, these come in that kit. This is brass washers. They go underneath the actual injector. So if you're pulling the injector out, you would replace these, but since we're not pulling the injector out, I'm not gonna use these. But I definitely keep them. These are the O-rings that go right, there's one, and right there's two. And those two O-rings are actually what's leaking. They allow it by the black plastic little banjo fitting deal. They allow it to come out the top and bottom of that little banjo fitting, and that's the leak I was having. So definitely replace the O-rings there. Gonna put some oil in a little cap of an oil bottle or something. Definitely lube these up good. Do not damage them trying to go on. You'll have to use a pick to get the old ones off. You're not reusing them, so it's okay if they get damaged. They're probably gonna be dry and crusty and maybe in 2 or 3 pieces anyway, but definitely oil the new ones up good. Be extra gentle with them when you go on. Don't damage them, because that's the actual sealing part of this whole deal. Hopefully that made sense. Got the new return line on, got all the injector lines started. I'm not going to torque them down because we'll have to bleed it off, and we'll get to that. But now I'm going to jump into the passenger side. I'm going to do the same thing. Not really much more to explain, so I'm just going to get started and let you watch. All right, there you have it. There's the driver's side. It was a little more difficult because they had this other fitting on the first one on the driver's side, the one on the most front. I don't know if that's a filter or just a riser or what. So I'd take that off. That was right down in there. Other than that, came off just like the other one. So that now we can go duplicate this one. All right, we got our new one here, old one here. Nothing really crazy. I did reuse the protective sheathing, loom top stuff that was over that one in the back. I reused that, and I ended up having to reuse a couple of clamps because they gave me 2 clamps shy. So I reused a couple of clamps. Not crazy about that, but it is what it is. Let's go put it on. All right, here's the rest of my O-rings. I just dumped them all in this little cap full of oil. So I'll do that the same way. Here's the 4 injectors on the passenger side. Same thing, pull the O-rings off, wipe them down, put the new ones on. I won't belabor the point because it's the exact same thing as I did on the other side, so I'll time lapse it and let you watch if you want. All right, we got everything tightened back up except the injectors. A couple of notes. This little booger down here, where you can see it right there, that is the return for the passenger side, but it goes underneath right here and you've got to loop up. That's a little tricky to get to, but you can do it. Everything else went pretty straightforward except for the very first one over here on the passenger side. It's got that other fitting on it, but it's just put it back the way you took it off, loops back around into here. Nothing too crazy. Put a plug in right here. If you don't have a pair of these, get them. This is a pair of Mac SD 1118, and these are made just for those funky clamps that I despise that they have you use on these. They got grooves made into them so you can grab them from the side or the end. Shout out to my buddy Daniel who hooked me up on those. I didn't think I'd use them that much when he gave them to me, but I use them a lot. So now we purge it out. Okay, I'd imagine it's going to take a minute to pump some fuel through, so I got the fuel switch on just so the solenoid will be on, but make sure it's out of gear. Now, I'm going to tighten all of them down and go through. I'm going to tighten all of them down and go through one at a time. For kicks and giggles, we'll crank it over one more time and then we'll start working through. Oh, she actually kind of hit there. All right. Let's crack this one. Until it kind of bogs down and then tighten them back up. Sounds good. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, I'm going to put some stuff back together, cover it all back up. And one more thing down. So there's injector return lines on an IDI diesel. Catch me next time on Rusty Relic Revivals. We'll be digging into something else, maybe something else on this truck, maybe back on that gas burner F250 I got last week. I don't know, we'll see. But stay tuned and like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.